What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nutrition Talks with me, Tyson the Trainer. Hope you've been well. Hope you've been enjoying December so far. Now, one thing I want to just remind you, December is the time where you should be at maintenance calories. Stop trying to fucking diet through Christmas. You've got Christmas events coming up. You've got, what are they called? I'm going to say social events. You do have social events, Christmas parties, all these type of things. So the last thing you want to do is to be dieting during this time. If your goal is not to step on stage next year for an A season, which again, you shouldn't be listening to this anyways, because fucking go listen to someone else who's going to be talking about obsessive shit. But if that is not your goal, why the fuck are you worrying about dieting through December? If you haven't got a lot of social events on, and like again, you don't celebrate Christmas, okay, sweet. But also don't try and pretend like, oh no, I can still stick to it, because you're going to fuck up. You're going to be more food focused. You're going to be obsessed, and you're going to overeat. All right? It's fucking normal. So what I say to my clients and what I want to say to you is December is the time for maintenance. It's to actually teach yourself that you can maintain your weight. Now, when I say maintain your weight, it does not mean you stay within a 1 kilogram weight range. It's going to fucking change, all right? It's going to fluctuate up and down. But coming off the back end of it, if you've gone, let's say, a kilo over, you've maintained pretty well. If you're 3 or 4 kilos over, then you've got some work to do. Because everyone talks about, oh, you know, I can diet so well, but then when it comes to trying to maintain, I just can't do it. And it's like, so what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Fucking diet and then go back off, and then diet and then go back off? There is a reason maintenance is so important. It's because you've got to learn to fucking stick to what you've actually achieved and eat like an adult. Christmas period is a perfect time for you to be able to do this, okay? I kind of stumbled my words there. Christmas time is the perfect time for you to be able to do this. But we're not talking about this today. I'm just giving you a little bit of a tip. Instead, I want to talk to you about your goals in 2024 moving forwards and what you actually need to be focusing on. Because the funny thing is, people tell me they want to achieve one thing, you know, or you say that you want to do this, yet what you're actually using as a measure of progress is nothing to do with what you say you want. Which fucking makes me laugh, because is it really what you want to achieve if you say that? Because if it is, you're using the wrong fucking metrics. And what do I mean by this? Is people say, I want to get healthier. I want to get fitter. I want to be stronger. I want to be more active. I want to look better. Okay, like you want to do all those things, right? I want to eat better. I want to have better habits. I want to manage my portions better. People say all these things. And then, what do you use to dictate any of that? You fucking use the scale. That's all you use. Oh, the scale didn't go down this week. How does that have any relation to what you're doing to get stronger? No, but the scale didn't move. Are your portion size getting bigger or smaller? Oh, no, but the scale. Like, you don't even fucking know what you're tracking in order to get results, right? The results that you say you want, you aren't tracking the right things. If you say you want to get stronger, then what the fuck are you doing stepping on the scale? The scale isn't going to tell you, hey, you're going to get stronger. You've gotten stronger this week. The scale hasn't moved, but you've gotten stronger. No. The scale hasn't moved, but your portion sizes have decreased, so you'll better manage your portions. Your fitness has gone up. Your VO2 max has gone up. The scale doesn't say any of those things. And you don't even ask yourself any of those things. You don't even track any of those things. All you fucking do is track your weight on the scale, and you have a fucking bitch and moan when the scale doesn't move. So what I'm going to do instead is help you actually reassess what your goals are and what you're going to do to get there. And what you're going to use to measure your tracking methods to get there. Right? So the first thing you've got to think about with this is, again, write down, what do you actually want to achieve? Okay? What does fitness look like for you? If it's getting stronger, if it's getting fitter, if it's getting healthier, all these things, write these things down, okay? Like, if that's what they are. Because where does losing weight come into that, right? Not losing, so let's say losing body fat is a goal. All right, if you want to lose fat and gain muscle, like people say, or if you want to tone up or, you know, shape muscle or whatever, that's losing fat, okay, and gaining muscle. That's not losing weight. So losing weight, you don't write that down if the weight is not the main focus, okay? If you weighed exactly how much you weigh right now, and you looked the way you want to look, would you still give a shit about your weight? If you woke up tomorrow, you looked in the mirror, you're like, fuck yeah, this is how I want to look. Would you even bother checking your fucking scale weight? Because if the answer is no, then weight doesn't matter for you. Think about that. If you woke up today and you looked exactly how you want to look and you wouldn't give a fuck about the scale, then weight loss is not what you are after. Okay? If you woke up and you were 2 sizes, if you're a female, if you were 2 sizes smaller in, dress sizes, let's say. If you were 2 sizes smaller or a size smaller, but your weight didn't change. Let's say you didn't even know your weight, but you went to put on clothes and they were too big for you now. Would you mark that as progress? Would you feel more happy about that? Even if you didn't know your weight? I assume you fucking would. So the scale weight is not what you're going to be aiming for, okay? I'm trying to help you reiterate this because, again, every fucking person uses the scale, and you can use scale as a measure of progress to a degree, but it's not going to fucking tell you everything you need to know. So what I want you to do, again, if you haven't yet, pause this and write down what your goals are for 2024 in regards to your fitness goals. Do you want to get stronger? Do you want to get fitter? Do you want to get healthier? Blah, 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 blah. Write it all down. Now that you've got these things written down, which if you haven't, again, pause me. It takes you fucking 2 minutes. You know what actually separates people from achieving things versus not? People who just fucking listen to this and go, oh yeah, that's good. Tyson makes some good points. All right, well, I'm going to get on with my life. Versus the people who put shit into play. Because it's funny. It's like I give away free advice. The people who take my free advice actually get results. Yet the people who just fucking passively listen and complain about things all the time, don't make any actual changes, don't see results. Like I see someone message me and they were like, hey, I've listened to all your podcasts. I'm really ready to get serious about fat loss. What do I need to do? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, what do I need to do? I'm sick of this. And I was like, you just said you've listened to my podcast. And she's like, yes. And I was like, so you listened to the one where I talked about how to calculate a calorie deficit? And she's like, yep. I said, and you listen to the ones where I talk about your daily habits, what you need to follow to eat for every single day with your fruits and your veggies? She goes, yeah, I know, I've got to do that. And I was like, so what else do you need to do? And she's like, oh, well, what should I be doing? And I was like, just fucking do what I said. Just follow the free advice. Like, it's not there it's not a fucking form of entertainment, right? If you want to listen to be entertained, okay, fine. Because I can go on rants and speak shit and fucking go off. But it's like, is that all you're doing? You're just going to fucking listen to this, skip to the next episode. Oh, okay, another podcast here. If you don't put anything into action, then you're fucking wasting your time. What's the point in listening to something if you're not going to put something into action? Every week, I share with you guys tips and strategies and, how to do things. And if you're not putting this into action and then you complain about not getting results, that's fucking your fault. There's no secret mystery. I don't hide things behind a fucking paywall. I give you everything you need right here in the podcasts. So like I'm telling you right now, pause the fucking podcast, write what your goals are for 2024. Once you've written out what those goals are, now you can think about how are we going to address these? How are we going to measure progress? Okay. Let's say your goal is to get fitter. What does fitter mean to you? Everyone's going to have a different version of fitness. Okay. For me, with fitness, it's that I have a good aerobic base and I also have a good strength base and I also have a good physical physique. All right. So there's 3 things I'm focusing on: my aerobic capacity, my strength, and my physique overall. Which means, if I'm going to use those as my metrics, what am I using as the metrics for the strength? Are the weights progressively getting heavier when I am training? Are my repetitions increasing with the same rep range? Literally, am I getting stronger in the gym? That has nothing to do with my weight, all right? So I wrote that out. Like, you've got to write out, what is your criteria to know this? Will my weight tell me if my aerobic capacity is improved? No. Okay, so what am I going to use to see if my aerobic capacity has improved? My heart rate monitor, the amount of time I can do on, like, for a certain piece of equipment for, let's say, the assault bike. I can go from 30 minutes to 40 minutes. That's an improvement cardio. I can see that my heart rate can stay in a certain zone easier. That's an improvement cardio. I can test myself. Let's say I do if I was a runner, I would do a 5 minute, I would do a 5K test. And if I can do a 5K in a faster amount of time, my aerobic capacity is improving. My fitness is improving. So I know how to track that. My physical appearance, is that scale based? It can be. But also, what else is that going to dictate? My calorie intake, okay? My body fat percentage. They're going to be the 2 criteria, basically, that I'm going to be using, which is my body fat percentage, my calorie intake, and my calorie output, to stick to a healthy body fat level. Wow, weird. Interesting. The scale didn't come up there for what my goals are, to get stronger, to look better, and to also make sure that I'm improving my aerobic capacity. So interesting. So imagine I was to step on the scale and not see the scale move, and I'm getting upset at these things when they're not even that's not even my fucking criteria of tracking. So you've got to do the same thing. You might not know, right, how to track these things, which again, you can do a Google search, because I'm not going to go through every single thing about how to know that you're assessing this, but I'm giving you examples here. Okay? This is what you need to do. So again, you've written down what you want to get: healthier, fitter, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now you got to think about, again, what criteria are you going to use to track your progress next year? Think about it. You're like, I want to go down in a dress size. Do you use the scale to measure that? No! Because there are people who I can guarantee are exactly your body weight at a different dress size than you. Some people who don't exercise at all are going to be a bigger dress size at the same body weight. Because guess what? Muscle is more dense than fat. So someone who is, for a male example, someone who is 95 kilos like myself and 10% body fat versus another person who is 90, who's my same height, same weight, their body fat level is 20% body fat, we are going to look a lot different, because fat takes up a lot more space on the body than muscle does. All right? So exactly the same as a female. If you are the same weight with a different level of body fat compared to someone else, then you're going to fit clothes differently. If you're a lower level of body fat, you will actually take up less room overall. If you're a higher level, you will take up more room overall. So if your goal is the dress size, it doesn't fucking matter about the weight. Okay? If your goal is to get stronger, again, your criteria will be, if you're like, hey, I want to be able to bench 100 kilos this year. Well, the scale's not going to fucking do anything for that, is it? Your goal is to bench. Okay, so what do you have to do in order to get stronger at the bench? Well, you have to obviously program bench into your program, right? Always be doing bench at least once or twice a week. You have to make sure that the rep range you are aiming for is going to help improve your strength overall. So probably a lower rep range. I would say, aim between 5 to 8 reps instead of 10 to 12 reps, okay? Not to say that 10 to 12 reps can't build strength, but if you're trying to get stronger, like if the strength is your main priority, then you aim for lower repetitions. If gaining muscle is your main priority, then you can go for a little bit higher repetitions. It's not like after, less than 8 reps, you're not going to gain muscle. More than 8 reps, it's all muscle mass. It's just like, it's kind of like a sliding scale in a way, all right? So you're moving a little bit more towards hypertrophy if you go in the higher repetition range. You're moving a little bit towards strength if you go in the lower repetition range. But it is not going, this is all strength and no muscle, or this is all muscle and no strength. There's still going to be benefits for both. It's just a little bit of an adaptation, all right? A little bit of a change based on what your goals are. So if your goal is to get stronger in the gym, that's what you're going to be measuring. Are my repetitions increasing at the same weight? Is the weight going up over time on the, with whatever I'm using? They're really fucking good criteria to improve your strength. If your goal is to have a healthier lifestyle, you got to write down what that looks like to you. Because if you don't have a destination that you're aiming for, then where the fuck are you driving? Right? I want to get healthier. Okay, well, my thought of what healthier is a lot different to a lot of other people. So you've got to know what healthier is to you. And there's no right or wrong. If healthier to you is, I just want to fucking be able to run up the stairs without getting my heart rate up to 180 and feel like I'm going to keel over, sweet. Okay? Which means, what does that mean? You have to improve your aerobic output. You have to improve your aerobic base, basically. You're like, I want to be able to, get healthier. So healthier might mean, you want to run after your kids. For me, a childless person, well, that's not going to be my criteria of health because I don't have children. All right? So you've got to write down what the criteria is to you. Not like I need to be able to do this, this, and this, but just give yourself some general guidelines. Again, health, like I want to get healthier to me, I'm not going to write down, I want to run up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath because I can easily do that already. So I've got to have another criteria for what my health is, For me, my health, I'll give you guys an example actually. So for me, I'm like, I want to reduce my blood pressure. How do I do that? I can do nutrition management, right? Oh, funnily enough, I don't have to use weights to measure my blood pressure. right? Weird, crazy. Fucking imagine that, not using the scale and measure your blood pressure. We actually have this thing called a blood pressure monitor. So if I wanted to check my blood pressure was changing, what would I use? Would I use the scale or would I use my blood pressure monitor? Let's think about this. If I wanted to get stronger, would I use weights in the gym to dictate if I'm getting stronger, or would I use the fucking scale at home? I'm really trying to make this a point that you have to understand, because again, a lot of you say you say you want this, but you're fucking not doing it. You're focusing on the other thing, right? So for me, wanting to improve my blood pressure, I check my blood pressure every morning. Now, I was like, I've been trying a lot of different things for a long time, trying to improve my blood pressure. I know what the cause of my high blood pressure is. It is my ADHD medication. And I kept trying to find other ways to try and mitigate it, but it just wasn't working. And then I was on like a blood pressure medication. And I'm like, is this not a good thing for me? Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm taking ADHD medication, which is helping me improve my focus, which is great. You know, it helps me improve my focus and really helps with me managing my anger, despite what you obviously hear me blow up on here, etc. But it really helps me with like anger bursts, okay? However, to the detriment of my heart health and my cardiovascular health, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm trying to do all these things when my goal is to improve my blood pressure, when all I need to do is fucking take away my ADHD medication. So, surprise, surprise, I stop taking my ADHD medication, my blood pressure goes straight back into a normal range, and I'm sweet, and I don't have to take my blood pressure medication anymore. And I was like, why did that take me so long to change? It took me so long to change because it was helping me with the medication. However, I'm like, you know what? If health is my main goal, this is not serving my health. And obviously there's mental health, there's physical health, you know, there's different areas of your health that you got to think about. But for me, taking them was not actually improving my physical health, which in turn was not helping my mental health. Because even though my focus was better, let's say, the mental stress I had every day thinking about my blood pressure, because it was always on my mind, was very fucking stressful. Because I'd always be like, oh man, like I've got to watch this, I've got to be careful of this. Now I can actually have a little bit more leniency with food that's higher in salts and things like that can cause a rise in blood pressure, because my blood pressure is always at the 120-ish mark. Whereas before, it was like 140, 145 during the day. And I knew, like, I'm like, fuck, like, it was a hard choice. But I'm like, for me, the goal of overall health is not being satisfied through taking this medication. So I made that change. All right, because I had to reflect on what my goals are and what's aligned with my values and what I'm trying to aim towards. So the same thing has to happen to you. You have to think about what your goals and values are, what they are specific to you, okay, not anyone else, and then you start to make paths towards that goal for 2024. So the biggest thing you've got to think about here is, again, going back to using these metrics and what it all means to you. Because once you have that criteria, once you know what it is, once you know what you're going to do to address that, then you can start working towards it. Now, the next year is what you've got to dedicate to working towards this, is what you're saying. What you've said you want to work towards. And you're going to take actions that are going to be in line with that, and you're going to take actions that aren't going to be in line with that. So then you've got to question, is this actually the path you want to go on? That is a really big thing you've got to consider. Is this the path you want to go on? Because a lot of people say, yeah, I want to go on this path, but they're not doing the actions they want to really take towards that path. If you have a path you want to go down towards and you are very set on it, you are most likely going to take actions towards that goal. If you're not, you need to reflect on your actions, think about why you're not moving towards that goal. Is it really as important to you as you say it is? Because we all are going to have underlying factors as to what is important to us. And again, there is no right or wrong. If someone who has a higher narcissistic tendency, right, fitfluencers, let's say, who are physique focused, who always post up their physique online. I fall into this category, by the way. Like, I like to post up my physique. What's going to motivate me to want to stay on track as a big motivator? It's the way I look. Mostly because it's, one, people look at me, it's my career, and I'm on Instagram and social media. Two, I have to look apart to feel like that people are going to listen to what I say. Because, look, at the end of the day, you can look wherever you want, but if someone who looks fitter than me and stronger than me and bigger than me, and they say something like, I don't know, Liver King saying shit, people are going to fucking listen because they go, look at this cunt, look at him, he's fucking massive. Yeah, I should eat testicles. I should eat fucking goat's testicles. I should eat liver raw because this guy is jacked off his fucking brain. Obviously taking steroids, but it's like people will listen to that guy over me. Look how many fucking followers that cunt's got. Looks do play a part. So, looks are a motivator for me. That's okay. I'm not afraid to admit that it's fucking vain, right? Is it my only motivator? No, because if looks were my only motivator, I would stay on my ADHD medication, not worry about my blood pressure, because my ADHD medication made me manage my appetite better. If that was my main priority of looks, then I wouldn't give a fuck. And we know this also because people take a lot of extra steroids and people don't check their blood health. People don't check their cardiovascular health. They would rather just take drugs and look good, which is, if that's what their fucking main goal is, then okay. But you've got to reflect your hierarchy of what's important to you and what's going to motivate you. Because if you say, I always, my kid's the most important thing in my life, yet you're prioritizing work over your kids growing up, then it's like, a kid's the most important thing of your life. That's something you got to talk about, or not talk about, something you got to think about. And when you know what your motivators are, you're more likely to move in that right direction. So again, if, let's say, for example, you're someone who has a high chance of getting diabetes and you were scared to fucking death of getting diabetes, literally because you're like, I don't want fucking something that could kill me or to ruin my life, and avoiding diabetes is your main motivator, you will fucking make actions, you will do whatever it takes to avoid diabetes, You'll just do what you just got to do because it's such a big, important driver to you. The same thing as if you're someone who really, really wants to make money and you have no morals, you will do some really sketchy shit to make money. Whereas someone who also really wants to make money but has some morals won't do certain things to get money. Like, literally, it's a joke, but it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen the meme where it's like, attention, I'm looking for, I think it's like 20 individuals to each put in $140 and 10x their money. And it says, it's not a pyramid scheme, we're selling crack, right? And it makes me laugh because it's like, well, fuck yeah, people do sell crack to people. There are drug dealers that sell crack. And it's like, these people don't have morals, obviously, because people die from crack use and drug use and all. And if you are a drug dealer and you are selling something that could kill people, you probably have pretty fucking low morals. Now, who am I to judge? Do what you want to do. But it's like, I would never go to that level of selling crack or something that would kill people for a financial benefit. Okay? Like, I have a standard. Same thing as I would never just sell fucking bullshit supplements that don't work because I want money. I wonder when we think about fitfluencers like that. People will sell their fucking soul for a discount code. People will sell their soul for a fucking discount code or for some supplements. That's pretty low morality if they just want to get money. I could easily do that, but I don't because I have morals. So knowing that, once I know with where I'm trying to go and what I want to do, I get to make a choice as to like, I'll do this, but I won't do this, right? Same thing for you where you're like, okay, this is my priority, so I won't do this. I have fatty alcoholic liver, so I'm not going to drink because I'm scared of dying. It's a pretty fucking big motivator. Someone who parties and takes drugs, who starts another job and they say, you get drug tested every week. They're like, okay, what's more important to me? My career or partying? Some people choose career, some people choose partying, okay? Same thing for you. What's more important? The way I physically look? Is that my biggest motivator? Is it my health markers that I want to track? Is it that I want to be around for my kids for my life, for a longer life? Whatever it's going to be, you've got to know what those things are. Because, like I said, when you know what those drivers are, when you know what's fucking scary to you that you would lose it, or again, like if you don't do this, you're going to die or get heart disease, whatever it's going to be, you are then going to be more motivated to stay on track. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, fuck that. I don't want to go through this. Or I don't want to, like, for me, again, I don't want to die early. I am so fucking scared of dying. Okay? Like, so fucking scared of dying. Because I just love life. Like, as much as there are shit areas in life, like, life has shit. Sorry, I'm trying to get fucking water out of my ear. So for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm like shaking my head. Like, shit happens in life, right? But no matter what, I never want to fucking die. Ideally, if I got the choice to live forever, I would choose to live forever. And some people are like, why would you do that? Like, because I don't want a nothingness. I'm scared of dying, right? I want to live a long and healthy life as long as I can. So anything that I start to see, and again, that was another thing, with the blood pressure being higher, that's lowering my life expectancy. So I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm scared of dying early. I'm scared of having high blood pressure. I just made the decision. I'm like, nope, I'll just cut the fucking ADHD medication out. Like, because I do not want to die early, People are like, oh yeah, if I make it past 50. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you crazy? Make it past 50. Bro, I want to live as long as I can. So any of these things that start to get in the way with my longevity, I'm like, nope, not doing that. No. Like, I know what my priority is, basically. Doesn't mean I make every fucking decision that lines up with that. Again, like occasionally I'll use drugs, occasionally I'll drink alcohol, occasionally I'll do things that clearly are not going to be good for the long-term health. But when it's more occasional, there is a lower chance of it fucking me up in the long run. Okay? So I'm like, that's what I know my motivator is. Now for you, it's the same thing. Right? I hope I'm getting this point across to you. The more you know what your motivator is, the more you're going to be inclined to do what you want to do. Okay? And this goes back to originally going, what are my criteria for tracking my progress? What do I want to do in 2024? Are those things going to be in line with your main motivator? Okay? If you're like, I don't want to die early, but I also never get my blood checks test. I also never do a cardiovascular test. I also never do any of these things that are going to be a criteria for dying early or late. Well, then it's like, do you really fucking not want to die early? Because if you didn't, you would actually get health checks. It just fucking makes sense. If you're someone who's like, I don't really give a fuck when I die, I want to look as amazing as I can, and I want to fucking be as jacked as possible, then you're most likely going to take a lot of steroids and do bodybuilding. Cool. If that's what you want to do with your life, go for it. But you've got to know. All right? And then again, you have these criteria to track your progress over time to see where you're moving, if you're moving in the right direction or not. Right? Now, for those of you who want to track your progress and do it properly, I have a free progress tracker you can download. I'm going to put it in the links below. So if you look at the links, you can click it. It'll say free progress tracker. You click on that and it's going to have everything there that you need to track your progress. It's going to have your calorie intake. It's going to have your weight, because your weight is still going to play a factor, but it's not going to be the main factor like I talk about, which is why I also teach you about taking measurements and photos, because they're going to be a much more better indicator. I have a whole video explaining how to use the tracker, how to do it all. So make sure you click the link below in the podcast and you can download it. And if you found this podcast helpful, do me a favor right now. Click on the share button, share it, and tag me. It takes you 2 seconds. I would love if you could help me reach more people, because I want to help as many people as I can for free. Like I said, this advice is actionable. This advice is going to help people get results, and I want to help as many people as I can. So I appreciate you for listening. Give it a share, and I'll speak to you guys next time.